Good evening, Global Genes. How's everybody doing tonight? See, I was told that we have the titans of industry here, and we just heard a story about how we're saving lives, so I'll give you one more chance. Let's try that again. Global Genes, how's everybody doing tonight? My name is Keegan Johnson, and I have a son named Dante who was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder at 3 weeks old. And today, I'm really just going to ask you two questions, just two simple questions. But before I do that, there's something really important that I have to tell you. And to start out, if you could just raise your hand if you know somebody who's a rare advocate. And those people that have raised their hand, you actually know what I'm going to tell you. That these rare advocates, they're all fighters. And I've had the privilege of talking to a number of different groups, Canada, the US, UK, around the world, and it's the same thing, community after community, they're fighters. And the stories are the stories that you guys know, and for me, there's one that sticks out. There was a mom who had a child who was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder. And she herself had MS, so she was in a wheelchair. And she came up to me and she said, you know what, I have no idea what the future is going to hold for me, but I know this is the time that I can make a difference. And this mom, with MS in a wheelchair, organized a walkathon to raise money for her child. Yes, absolutely. These rare advocates are fighters. But they can't fight if they don't get a diagnosis. Can't fight if they don't get diagnosis. You see, my son was diagnosed at 3 weeks old. So we had a chance. And since then, we've gone out with our community. We've raised over $5 million for research into our rare genetic disorder. Yes, absolutely. Clapping is always allowed. But on top of that, we were able to start our son on treatments and therapies that now they're saying improve the cognitive ability, but only if they start before the age of 2. We had a chance. So now it comes to my first question. And my question, some of you may have heard over the last couple days a little bit of buzz about talking about mission statements. So my question here is, who can tell me the mission statement of Global Genes? To eliminate the challenges of rare diseases. Yes, round of applause. And I'm telling you this, not just because there's studies that prove that people who can actually repeat the mission statement actually donate 50% more to the cause. And I'm going to be asking you for a donation in a minute, but that's not the reason. I'm telling you this because this mission statement isn't just something that's written down for Global Genes. This isn't just a poster on a wall. This is something that this community lives and breathes day after day. And one of the reasons that we can tell that is actually because of this undiagnosed program. Because if you think about it, there's people that say that for every person who's got a diagnosis with rare disease, there's one person who doesn't. So that means there could be up to 30 million people in the US who actually don't have a diagnosis. And for Global Genes to take their mission to eliminate the challenges of rare diseases, the first step is to get this diagnosis. So I'd like to congratulate Global Genes on taking that initial first step. But I do have a little problem with Global Genes. And this is going off script a little bit, so I think Nicole and the group are starting to squirm in their chair there. And the problem that I have with Global Genes and this program is I think they're a little bit modest in describing their programs. Because what you may not have heard specifically, and I want to highlight this, is not only is Global Genes going out and working to double the donations from $100,000 last year to move it up to $200,000 this year with your help, not only are they looking to triple the effectiveness of the program, but the real aim, what we're trying to do here, in terms of really eliminating those challenges, is to actually innovate on the technology, to improve the processes, to bring the partnerships together so that these diagnoses are not just delivered to 30 or 100 people, but we can now make them scalable and accessible so we have a chance to help to diagnose the up to 30 million people that are undiagnosed across the US. That is the aim of this program. So now it comes time for my second question. And what I'd like you to do is to go to your program, and you can find your program probably under your chair by now. But go ahead and search for it right now. And I want you to take out this donation card. And you can put the donation card right in front of you. And I am going to ask you to make a donation in a minute. And what I want to let you know is that as you fill out that information, if you decide, you can raise your hand, and we have our Blue Angels, if you could just raise your hand, who can actually come over and take your donation. They have the back there. You see the blue bracelets. Raise your hand and they will come to your table. If you'd like to make a credit card donation, they have the credit card processing. They can do it right there. So now I would like to ask you right now to consider making that donation. And what I'm really asking you, I'm asking you to give these children, like Jane and Charlie, a fighting chance. Because what I can tell you, out of knowing the Rare Advocates and knowing the community, that right now, if you give them a chance, these people will fight. They will fight for their cures. They will fight for their lives. They will fight for the lives that you give them. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help us and just give these people a fighting chance. Thank you very much. Have a great night.